The holiday season is meant to be a time of joy and gathering with loved ones, but it can also be a time that is extremely difficult for those dealing with the death of a family member or close friend.
The first thing is just to recognize that whatever anyone is feeling during the holidays is normal and natural. And, say someone in the family died, say there's four siblings and it's a mother who's just passed away. All of the people in the family are going to grieve that death differently based on their personal relationship with that person. And so I think part of what happens over the holidays, especially if it's a recent death, is there's a lot of judgment as to how different people in the family are, well, for lack of better words, dealing with the loss. And, one piece of advice I would say is grief is experienced individually. And just because someone in the family is not reacting or responding the same way you are doesn't mean that they're not hurting. I would also say or encourage people to bring that person's name up. We tend to want to skirt the issue because we're uncomfortable and we don't know how to talk about it. But not bringing up their name kind of sends the message that they didn't exist and they didn't matter. And so perhaps maybe have a time at the family gathering where everyone's invited to share a memory without pressure to participate. Like, not everybody needs to do that. One of the things I would suggest to the griever is to plan ahead. And from that, I mean, people are going to invite you to things, maybe things that you went to in the past, traditional things that you've done in the past. So you want to be prepared what you're able to do this season so that when people invite you, you've kind of got a script ready, you can thank them. And yes, if it feels like something you want to do, you can accept the invitation or you can politely decline and ask them if perhaps, they could invite you next year. We process our emotional pain intellectually, and yet it's not our mind that's broken, it's our heart that's broken. And we process grief, we process unresolved emotions on an emotional level. And where your mind wants to understand, wants to put the pieces of the puzzle together, wants to rewrite the ending because it doesn't like what happened, really what our heart wants is to be heard and witnessed. And yes, sometimes it might involve an apology, it might involve a forgiveness, and maybe not necessarily face to face to that person. But the emotional pain needs to be healed on an emotional level. And as long as we stay up here, critiquing, analyzing, problem solving, we will continue to spin in that emotional pain with no way out. And I think that's probably one of the biggest pieces of misinformation we're given as we're taught how to grieve is you can't think your way through this.